Hi everyone, welcome to another 30-minute Pilates. If you haven't done the class before, watch the pre-class information video, read the caption, see what it's all about, and we will get started. So we're going to start with our setup. So I want you to bring your feet together. We're going to turn our toes out, and then we're going to take our heels out to join them too. Now I want you to think about grounding down through your big toe, your little toe and your heel. So equally distribute your weight in the whole of your foot. We're then going to move up to our knees. You want to make sure the knees are nice and spongy. So just give them a little bit of a wiggle. Up to our hips. We're going to make sure our hips are nice and level too. So I want you to imagine you've got a bucket of water inside the pelvis and that's full to the brim. So we don't want to be tilting one side or the other because we're going to spill the water. So we're going to find that midpoint for us. On our front of our hip bones, we're going to imagine we've got two little headlights as well. They are facing forward and they are level. This also stops us twisting to the side too much. Into our midsection, we're going to think about pulling the belly button back towards the spine slightly. So you're just going to have that little bit of tension in there. Our ribs, we're going to imagine we're knitting our ribs down towards our pelvis too. So a lot of the time we'll tend to flare our ribs up and out. We want to think about knitting those down. We're then going to take a deep breath in through our nose. We're going to pick our shoulders up towards our ears. We're going to push the shoulders back and we're going to breathe out through our mouth. Fantastic. So we're going to do this a couple more times. Breathing in through your nose, breathing back out through your mouth. Making the movement slightly bigger each time. So really think about pulling the shoulders up towards the ears, really squeezing them in, pushing them back, sliding them down the back. So we're just slowing the breathing down, we're just relaxing the body a little bit. We're just mentally preparing ourselves for some exercise. We're going to do two more. On that second one, we're going to slide the shoulder blades down our back. We're going to do our lateral flexion next. So imagine you've got that pane of glass in front and behind you. We're going to lengthen up through our spine and we're just going to slide in between those panes of glass. So when you come to the centre, make sure you're lengthening up. So you're putting the top of your head up towards the ceiling. So we're just growing that little bit taller each time. We're just going to let the arms be loose. It doesn't really matter too much what you do with those. Just relaxing the arms, relaxing the shoulders. We're just gliding through those two panes of glass side to side. Trying to keep the hips level and stable as well. So don't push the hips out. Keeping the weight equally distributed in both of the feet still. We're not transferring that weight. We're going to go one more each side. We're going to finish back in the centre. Then we're going to do our spinal swing. So we haven't done these for a little while. I want you to take your feet a little bit further apart. Have your toes roughly between like 11, 10 o'clock on the one foot and then 1 and 2 o'clock on the other. So just turning them out slightly. We're going to lengthen up to the spine. And then we're just going to throw our arms around either side. So we're going to keep it relatively controlled, but you want to make sure the movement is nice and loose at the same time. We're just going to let the heel of the opposite foot lift up off the floor too. We are letting the hips rotate slightly as the shoulders are going round. You can also take the head round with it. Lengthening up through the spine. Breathing into the nose, breathing back out to the mouth. I'm going to go one more each side. Hopefully you're not too dizzy. And we're going to finish back in the centre. I'm going to do some quick neck mobility. So I just want you to lean the head side to side. So just ear to shoulder, stretching either side of the neck. If you want to close your eyes while you do this, you can. And feel free to close your eyes at any point. One more each side. I'm going to finish back in the centre and then we're just going to turn the head side to side. So keeping the chin parallel to the floor. we're going to go one more each side. We're going to finish back in the centre. I'm just going to tilt the chin forward, pick the chin back up. Fantastic. So make sure as you're doing this, you've got enough room in front of you. We're going to turn these into our roll downs. So breathing in at the top and then breathing out, tucking the chin, rolling the shoulders slightly, taking the arms down roughly towards the knees, breathing in when you get here, and then breathing out and rolling that back up again. Finishing, rolling the shoulders back, stacking the head back on top. We're going to repeat. So breathing in, breathing out, tucking the chin, rolling that spine down. So you want to imagine you're like a slinky going down the stairs, vertebrae by vertebrae. Maybe taking it a little bit further this time, breathing in at the bottom, and then breathing out to come back up. Think about keeping that tension in the belly button. Lengthening up through the spine at the top. Relaxing the arms. Putting a bend in the knees too. You don't want to overstretch the hamstrings. You haven't warmed them up yet. So keep that bend in the knees. Working with your breath in at the top, out on the way down. Back in at the bottom, and then out on the way back up. Okay, we're going to do one more. So take your time with the movement and we're going to finish down. So just really slowly roll that down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Finishing at the bottom, just relax the arms, relax the head. Put a bigger bend in the knees. If you like, you can place each hand on each elbow, kind of like a ragdoll position. And just let gravity pull the spine down towards the floor. So we're just decompressing all those spinal discs and creating space. Breathing in through the nose. Breathing back out through the mouth. When you're ready, just place your hands on the floor. We're going to come down into a kneeling position. And we're going to do our scapular push-ups. So we've done these before. Now you can either be in an all-fours position, same as when you do your plank or your normal push-ups. You can take the knees further back so you're in more of a diagonal, or you can come up onto your toes as well, so whichever you prefer. So the first option, making sure the wrists are underneath the shoulders. We're keeping the belly button pulled in, and we're just going to push through the wrists, and we're pushing the shoulder blades and the upper back up towards the ceiling. So it's kind of like a cat-cow. We're bringing that back down. So we're pushing through the wrists, pushing that back up towards the ceiling. It's kind of like a half push-up. The arms are staying nice and straight. Just pushing the shoulders. We're trying to push the floor away. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. Pushing that floor away. Bringing that back. Keeping the belly button pulled in. All the movements coming from the upper part of the back. If you want to increase, you can take that back into that diagonal position. Pushing that up. Bringing that back down. So pushing the floor away, keeping the elbows nice and straight. Breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your mouth. Keeping the movement nice and slow and controlled. Really trying to push that floor away as far as you can. I'm going to do two more. Take your time, pushing through. Bring that back. Once you've done your two, I just want you to lower yourself down to the floor, nice and slowly, for our swan dive and our swimming legs. So we're going to place our hands in that nice W position. You're going to have the hands roughly in line with the head. The elbows are going to be bent and facing back towards the feet. Our head is going to be down towards the floor. We're going to breathe in through our nose And we're going to breathe out, and we're slowly going to peel the head up off the floor. Squeezing the shoulder blades, breathing in at the top, and breathing out and slowly lowering that back down again. Fantastic. So breathing in, breathing out, peeling up off the floor. Placing that back down again. I want you to think about keeping the belly button pulled in as well. So imagine you can slide a piece of paper underneath that belly button, or imagine the floor's cold and you're trying to pick that up off the floor. Working with your breath. If you need to go a little bit slower, a little bit quicker. If you want to increase this movement, you can float the arms up off the floor as you come up. Just squeeze the elbows back, place them back down. Picking that up, bringing that back, placing it back down. We're going to do 2 more, so picking that up, squeezing the shoulder blades, working with your breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Once you've done those 2, just place the hands underneath your forehead. We're going to extend those legs along the floor. So we're going to lock the knees, we're really straightening the legs, we're pointing the toes. And we're going to squeeze the glute and we're going to pulse that leg up 3 times. And place that back down the floor, we're going to do the opposite leg. So squeezing the glute, straightening that leg, lengthening the leg away from you 3 times. Place that back down. And go to that first leg again. Pulsing that 3 times, breathing in through your nose, breathing back out through your mouth, really trying to extend the leg away from you. The knees staying nice and straight. You're trying to touch the other side of the room with your toe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Keeping the movement nice and slow and controlled. Okay, we're going to do 1 more each side, so 3 pulses each side. And place that back down. And we're going to do our swan dive again, so place the arms back into that W position, breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your mouth, peeling that up off the floor, up to the top, breathing in, breathing back out, placing that back down. So really thinking about squeezing the shoulder blades as you do this. Lift yourself up. Back down again. In through the nose, out through the mouth. I'm going to do 2 more. Working with your breath, placing the hands underneath the forehead. We're going to do our swimming legs again, so we're just going to pulse that leg 3 times. Working the glutes, working the legs, working the lower back. Keeping that movement nice and slow and controlled. We're not flinging the leg into the air, we're slowly lifting that up. And we're placing that back down on the floor too. Pointing the foot, straightening the leg, really extending the leg away from you. Breathing in through your nose, breathing back out through your mouth. And do 1 more set each side, so 3 pulses each side. Breathing into the nose, out through the mouth. And then we can come back into our child's pose. So place the hands on the floor. We're going to sit back, we're going to join the toes together, place the knees apart, stretch the arms out, then sit that bum back. Place the forehead on the floor. I'm just going to take a couple of deep breaths here. And that should feel quite nice on that back we've just worked. Okay, we're going to pick our right arm up and we're going to thread that underneath our left armpit. Place the side of the head on the floor. untwist. We're going to do the opposite side, so picking that left arm up, threading that underneath the right armpit, placing the side of the head on the floor. Unthreading that arm, placing both the hands on the floor, and just place the forehead back down just for another couple of breaths. When you're ready, we're going to roll over onto our side for our side plank. So make sure you have enough room. We're going to extend the legs behind us. We're going to have the knees bent. We're going to have, you can do either way. We're going to start on our elbow. If you do prefer, you can come up onto your wrist. We're going to make sure that elbow is tucked underneath us as well. So bring that elbow in, place that hand forward. We're going to have our shoulders stacked on top of each other too. The hips are also going to be stacked, so we're not rolling back, we're not rolling forward. We're in that nice line. Think about keeping the belly button pulled in. The bottom rib, we're going to be lifting that up towards the ceiling, so keep the whole of that engaged. I don't want to see any of this. We're not relaxing, we're pulling this all the way up. We're not on a chaise longue, we're on our mats or on our floor. Breathing in through our nose. On the out breath, pushing through our knees, pushing through our elbows, lifting that arm up. So we're lifting the hips, we're lifting the waist. We're really thinking about pulling this bottom rib up towards the ceiling. So we're really creating height in this part of our body. Breathing in through our nose. On the out breath, if you want, we can add that rotation. So we're just going to thread the arm underneath and we're going to bring that back up into the center. Breathing in, breathing out, threading that underneath, bringing that back up to the top. So really think about resetting back at the center. So you're growing back up at the top. You're working with your breath. We're going to do one more. Threading that under, bringing that back up. Breathing in one last time. Breathing out. I'm going to place that down. I'm going to go the opposite side. So just roll yourself around. Bend the knees, have the feet back. Hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked, arms pulled in. Breathing in through our nose, breathing out, pushing through our knees, pushing through our elbow, lifting our arm, lifting that bottom rib again. So we're really thinking about engaging the side part of the body. The hips are still stacked, the shoulders are still stacked. Breathing in through your nose, breathing back out through your mouth. If you want, we can add that rotation. So we're just going to thread the arm underneath, bringing that back up, breathing in, breathing out. Every time we come back to the top, we're lifting that rib up a little bit higher. So we're really creating that space and that height underneath the body. We're going to do one more. All the way up to the top. Really squeezing that side, breathing into the nose, breathing out to the mouth, and lowering that back down. Push yourself up into a seated position. Take a couple of breaths. As you're doing this, we're going to do the saw. So we have done this in a previous class, pardon me. We're going to take our legs apart. So as far as you can manage, it's completely up to you. As long as they're kind of greater than this, but as far as you can go, up to you. We're going to wiggle, make sure we're nice and upright. So just place the hands either side, wiggle the bum back a little bit, make sure we're nice and upright. We're going to pull that belly button in towards our spine, imagining we've got that cord and it's lengthening us up to the ceiling. We're going to float our arms up roughly to shoulder height. We're going to take a deep breath in. On the out breath, we're going to twist towards our one leg. We're going to bring the arm forward and we're going to lean forward over that leg. Bringing that back up to the centre, stacking the spine up, opening the arms, really twisting into the centre, all the way around, taking the arm around and leaning forward. Brilliant. Bringing that back up into the centre. So breathing in through your nose, breathing back out through your mouth. Each component of the exercise, we're keeping it nice and slow and controlled. We're not doing one bit quicker than the other. So we're making sure we're working with that breath. Trying to keep the back nice and straight, so try not to curl over too much as you lean, which I know is easier said than done. Think about trying to get the knees down to the floor as well. So really pushing those legs down, keeping those engaged. And this is really good for our core. So for our thoracic rotation, using our obliques, using our abs, using our hip flexors, and you'll probably find that your shoulders start to burn as well. Okay, go one more each side. Keeping those arms up, making sure they haven't floated down too much. Back into the centre. And we're going to float the arms down. We're going to place our legs together. We're going to do our roll backs from seated, well, roll ups from seated. So a nice little bit of core work now. Make sure you've got enough room to roll back behind you. Place your feet on the floor, have your knees bent up, roughly hip distance apart. Place your hands lightly on your thighs. Breathing in through your nose, on the out breath, pulling the belly button in and just start to C-curve that spine. So we're going to start rolling down onto the pelvis, down to the waist, just to the shoulder blades. Breathing in here, breathing out and rolling that back up again. So really C-curving that spine, lengthening back up at the top. Fantastic. So breathing in, breathing out. Start to place the pelvis down first. So we're tucking the pelvis under, bringing that belly button in. We're taking it a little bit further this time. Breathing in at the bottom. And then breathing out on the way back up. Keep the movement nice and slow and controlled. If you want to extend, you can take the arms up, have the arms in front. Keep that movement nice and smooth, so not throwing yourself back up, you're curling that up. So the whole movement is at the same pace, we haven't got slow bits and quick bits. You want to aim to be rolling down and up at the same time. At the same time period. But if you want to count to about maybe 3 or 4 on the way down, then count to 3 or 4 on the way back up. Making sure you're lengthening back up at the top. We're going to do one more, we're going to finish down. We're going to place our hands on the floor and we're going to do our glute bridge. So we're going to bring our feet in close towards our butt. We're going to make sure everything's roughly hip distance apart. We're going to place our hands down by our sides and we're going to pin our shoulder blades down to the floor. So we're going to breathe in on the out breath. We're going to start by tucking the pelvis under, pulling the belly button down, pushing through the feet and bringing the hips up into that ski slope position. We're going to breathe in here and then we're going to breathe out and we're slowly going to reverse that movement. So we're rolling back down from the top of the spine all the way back down, finishing with the pelvis into the floor. So breathing in, breathing out, really squeezing those glutes, pushing through those heels. You're pulling up through the inside of the thighs, you're pulling that belly button in, all the way to the top, breathing in here, and then breathing out and bringing that back down. So work with your breath. If you can make the movement even slower, then give that a go. You'll notice you'll probably start wobbling to start with. That's absolutely fine. Your body's just overcoming that and challenging yourself. Squeezing the glutes the whole time. So imagine you've got that winning lottery ticket in between your bum cheeks. You're not letting that lottery ticket go. Pushing through the feet, pulling up on the inside of the thighs, making sure the knees aren't splaying out anywhere. You do tend to like to go walkies. Pulling that belly button in. We're trying to keep the ribs knitted down towards the pelvis as well, so try not to let the ribs flare out here, keeping the ribs down. We're only really taking the movement to the Middle of the shoulder blades, really, we're not bringing that right up onto our neck. So if you do flare the ribs, you'll find that you're kind of bringing that up onto your neck, which isn't what we need. So think about pushing the ribs back down, and we're going to keep that on the back of the shoulders that way. Squeezing the glutes. We're going to do 2 more, pushing through the heels. Breathing in at the bottom, breathing out on that movement. Taking your time finishing those off. We want to make that last rep as good as the first one. When you're done, we're going to do a nice little glute stretch. So we're going to pick our right leg up. We're going to place that right foot across the left leg, and we're going to push the knee away. So take a few breaths here. If you want to increase, we're going to pick that foot off the floor, take the hands behind. Place the feet on the floor. We're going to pick our left foot up. We're going to place that across the right thigh. We're going to push the knee away for a second. If we want to increase, we can pick the other leg up off the floor, take the hands behind, and bring that leg in towards you. Okay, place that back down on the floor. We're going to do our spinal twist. So we're going to cross our right leg over our left leg. We're going to take our arms out, and then we're going to let the knees drop towards the left hand side. Taking some deep breaths here. Bringing that back into the centre. And cross the legs. And cross the left over the right. And let the knees drop towards the right hand side. Bringing the knees back into the centre, uncrossing those legs. We're just going to roll over onto our side, and we're going to push ourselves back up into a seated position. So take a couple of minutes just to take a few deep breaths, bring your awareness back into your body, back into the room, and thank you very much for joining us. I hope you have enjoyed the class. As always, just leave us any comments, like and subscribe. Any ideas, anything you want to work on or anything you've struggled with, just drop us a message. All our social links are available in the comments, in the bio too. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.